So I want to talk about the real reason I wanted to make this video, and that is to talk about stock cars out here on the West Coast. I did say they were dead a little while ago, as you guys heard, and I want to talk about why I think the reason is for that. I've only been racing for 7 years, so since 2013, and I don't really know a whole lot of history before that on the stock cars out here, but all I know is the world I'm living in today and the races I'm going to, it's dead out here. And you go to any given track here, and if you get 10 stock cars, no matter what the division is, they call it so many different things around here. If you get 10 cars, it's a pretty good night. But there's a lot of nights where you're running under 10 cars at most of the tracks around here. And even the big shows, you know, we have a couple big end of the year shows around here. It's always been Petaluma. It's a $2,000 to win. I think it's $1,500 this year, but this year I think there was only 15 cars, or maybe 15 or 16 cars that showed up to that race. And then there was also a big race in Stockton. That was a $2,000 to win show as well. It was initially going to be a $5,000 to win show, but then last minute they cut it down. But I mean, it was out. The word is out for a long time on that one. Everybody knew about that one, and I think we only had 19 cars show up to that. And so around here, there's no such thing as not making the feature race for our division at least. And I want to talk about why that is. I think the reason that is because out here, each track has their own rules. They call it a different class. You know, some tracks call it a limited late model. Other tracks will call it a super stock, a street stock, a pure stock, a pro stock, and all the rules are just all over the place. So you can't build a car to go and run each track competitively. That's what I've been trying to do the last 4 or 5 years now, and I've tried to keep it within the rules of all of them, like looking at all of them and seeing what I can and can't do. And you know, wherever I go, I've never really had, I don't think I've ever had faster than a top 3 car. I mean, I've always been, you know, not the fastest car, but you know, in between first and fifth. I'm somewhere in that group. Some nights I get up to maybe third, second. I've got a lot of seconds too, but I've never had a car that could win at any of these tracks. So if we had a sanctioning body out here that would come on board and we could run more tracks than just one track, I think that would help the car count a lot. Looking back at the rest of the United States, sanctioning bodies all over the place for these stock cars. And I kind of got some information together here. I didn't get all of the information that I wanted to, unfortunately. The biggest problem with that was IMCA. I called them. I tried to get some information from them, and they said, "Oh, you a member?" I said, "No." And they said, "Well, if you're not a member, we can't tell you any information at all." I was like, "I'm just trying to figure out how many cars you guys had in your division this year." And they said, "Nope." So I was looking around trying to find a member who would help me out and just make a call. I mean, a 5-minute call and ask how many cars you had in your stock car division this year, but I couldn't find anybody who wanted to do me a favor. So I estimated it. I think I got pretty close, but basically I want to start out. The biggest sanctioning body as far as car count goes for the United States this year is the IMCA stock cars, by far. They have around 100 tracks that you can run at with a stock car under the rules, IMCA stock cars. Somewhere around 80 and 100 tracks in the United States that you can take your car and race, and it'll be competitive because they're under that same rules. There's 18 states within those 100 tracks you could go to. And then I'm estimating to have around 1,000 competitors, maybe more. And then second on that list is probably my favorite class under, you know, these certain rules. I really like the Durance Lane street stock rules. They're down in the South. They got 15 tracks you can run at over 6 states, and they have 417 people that participated in their class this year. That's pretty impressive. Been watching a lot of the race on YouTube, and looks like a really fun class. Those things are badass. And then next on the list we have the USRA stock cars, which are pretty damn cool too. I like those a lot. They kind of look like the IMCA stock cars, but I think they got a little more power in them. I was looking through their engine rules, and they got some open rules in there where you can make some serious horsepower. So these things are pretty badass. They got around, so I couldn't get an answer out of them either as far as how many tracks they have. They show you how many tracks there are for the USARA sanctioned body, but that's not just for stock cars, or they call it a stock car there. That's for all the different divisions. So they have 42 tracks for all their divisions. I'm estimating probably for the stock cars, I don't know, I'd probably say around 20, 25, maybe 30 of those tracks are going to be tracks that stock cars can run at. And it's going to be, I think, between 8 and 9, maybe 10 states that you could go and race at. And they had 334 competitors this year. Next on the list is a pretty cool Division 2. It's the Wissota Super Stocks. They have 26 tracks to run at, 7 states, including Canada, which is pretty cool. And they had 303 competitors this year. And then this is the last sanctioning body I could find. There might be another one out there. I just couldn't find it by searching on the internet. And that's the Dirt Car or the UMP Sportsman Division. They got 11 tracks to run at in 5 states with 303 competitors. So that being said, you know, you see that they got anywhere from 1,000 to 300 competitors in each one of those divisions. That's pretty impressive. And if they had something like that around here, I think the car count would come up. But like I said before, nobody's going to build a car to run one track. And I mean, the people that have done it, they're out there, they're around. But that's why there's only, you know, 10 cars max every night, every points night. It's just nobody's going to do that because it's not fun. I've done it, and you know, if you want to run second place, third place, fourth place all the time, then that's great. But nobody wants to go race for, you know, anything but the trophy. So, you know, I'll kind of go over some of the rules around here. Starting off with Antioch, they have a rule package where you can run a motor setback if you want to, but you have to put some weight in front of the motor plate. You can run wide 5 hubs, a quick change. Their weight limit is 2,900 pounds, and they're a full-blown race car pretty much. It is a clip car. I mean, it's a stock car class, so it should be a clip car. And their engine rules are limited to a 360-something cubic inch motor with pretty much almost no restrictions at all, besides a mandated carburetor that they make you run. It's a Holley out-of-the-box 750 double pumper carburetor. Solid roller cam, any cylinder head you want. You have to run race gas, but I've never seen them check any fuel there at all. So, you know, the only thing I've ever seen them check at that racetrack is I've seen them stick a borescope down an intake to check for porting, and I've heard that maybe one time they bubbled somebody, but they don't even run cars over the scale anymore. So not checking cars, that's going to contribute to why the class is kind of dead out here. You know, people are cheating and they're getting away with it. Nobody wants to come race with that shit, you know. But then you go over to somewhere else. The next closest track to that is probably going to be Petaluma, and that's a whole nother different class. That's a 2-barrel rule. You can't run a roller cam. It's a 3,000 pound limit, 9-inch only. They don't really have any rear suspension limits besides you can run leaf springs or you can run a coil car, 3-link or a factory 4-link. But it's pretty open as far as the rules go for that. What else? I think I said you have to run regular hubs. You can't run wide 5 hubs there. No engine setback. It's #1 spark plug to a ball joint. And then you go to the next track, which I think would be Chico, and they run a class called the Street Stock. The Petaluma class is called Super Stocks. The Street Stocks over in Chico, they got that kind of funky engine rule where you can run 3 different options. You can run a crate motor. Oh, I forgot to mention, you could run a crate motor this year. As a new rule at Petaluma, 604 crate there, or the open motor with a 2-barrel. But yeah, Chico, they got 3 different engine rules. So you can run a big cubic inch up to 406, I believe, cubic inch motor with a certain chip. But they check it's going to be a 2-barrel carb You have to run gas, can't run any alcohol or anything like that. No roller cams. Then the other open motor option was a 360 cubic inch motor with a little bit higher chip, still a two barrel carburetor, and the last option was a 604 crate with the 4-barrel. But their rules are 3,000 pound. They're similar to Petaluma except for the rear suspension rule, the 3-link. They'll let you run a 3-link, but they have a 20-20-20 rule, which means that you can't have certain bars being over or less than a certain length, and you cannot run any kind of traction devices like a biscuit bar or a pull bar, and they don't allow any J bars. They have to run a panhard bar that runs behind the rear end and set it in front of it. So those are probably the two closest rules around here. The next one this year was the Super Stocks down in Marysville, and those cars used to run a sprint car wing on top of them. Kind of crazy. They were able to run engines set way back like a modified and run on alcohol with the 2-barrel carburetor. A weird rule. And then I think I forgot to mention that Antioch, you have to run, or you run American Racer tires, and they're about 10 inches wide. And then you go to Petaluma, and their tire rule is a Hoosier Dirt Boss only. You can't run anything but a Dirt Boss there. So right there off the bat, you can't even go to each track with the same tires. You got to change tires. And then up in Chico, they're just Hoosier only. You can't run an American Racer there. But the tire rule is open to whatever Hoosier you want to run. 8-inch tire only. Same thing with Petaluma, 8-inch tire. That's what a Dirt Boss is, unless you find the 10-inch Dirt Bosses, but that's getting into something else. And then, what's another track around here? If you go down to go down south, they have what they call the West Coast Pro Stocks, and those are a different set of rules also. They have to run G60 tires, kind of like a modified does, and they have, I believe, a open cubic inch rule. Don't quote me on that one, but I'm pretty sure they have a big motor rule with a flat tappet cam, and they run a 4-barrel, I believe, down there. But they also run a 20-20-20 rule for the Quill cars. So it's just all over the board here in California. The bright spot that I've seen this year is the Tri-State Pro Stock bunch. They've come out, this is their first year they did a season, and it was pretty cool. They called it Tri-State, but they only had races here in California and Nevada. They got a little more car count than regular nights around here at other tracks, but they are a traveling series, and their rules are really crazy right now. They basically just say you can run whatever rules that you run at your regular track, as long as they approve those rules. But basically, the most open rule book out of all those packages, I guess you could say, was the Nevada Outlaw Pro Stock division, and that's a pretty unlimited class. They have big cubic inch motors. There's no cubic inch limit on it. You can run a 4-barrel with alcohol. So we're already talking motors that are probably over 600 horsepower. And then they run 11-inch tires, and they have to run a clip car, but it's just, the rules are so far spread out that it makes it hard for anybody to really travel competitively. And I really wish they would have a sanctioning body around here come into effect and start, placing their sanctioning body in all the tracks around here so we can start running a certain class. But they did start the IMCA stock cars a while back, I guess, down in Bakersfield and Hanford. I think it's called King Speedway. And besides that, IMCA stock cars, I think the nearest track is like down in Arizona or New Mexico or something like that. Maybe Washington too, but that's pretty damn far. But they don't get a whole lot of cars for that division down there, even though it is an IMCA stock car class. I watched a couple of videos on YouTube, and it's not the same stock cars you see in racing, out in Iowa, Minnesota, and back east there. Those guys are really on top of their game. Down here, I think the first video I watched was some guy who just started the feature. He started on the pole on the bottom, drifted all the way up to the top of the track and T-boned the guy up on the top groove. Completely took him out. So that's just kind of showing you the kind of racing we have around here. But basically that's what I want to talk about. And you know, I just wanted to kind of explain that for some people that don't know how it is out here as far as the stock car racing goes. People that back east watching this video have a little more information on really how it kind of goes out here. So thanks for watching. I hope this video is informative to whoever is watching it, and I hope that it turns around here, because stock car racing in my eyes is the blue collar group. It's really what racing's all about, the grassroots of it. People that work, you know, 40 hours a week and then are able to scrounge up enough money to put it into their race car and come out and race. You know, the modifieds have gotten out of hand on costs, and I think this is still a really good group of racers out there, and I see how it is on the other side of the country with it, and I really hope it comes around, because I'll probably be racing this class the rest of my life. It's my favorite class by far. So thanks for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe to this video down on my page, Trezzy and Racing, and I'll see you guys next time.